Since childhood, we are told that true love means finding the one soulmate, one partner, one person forever. But what if monogamy is not natural? What if monogamy is designed to control desire, power, and property? In the Bite Size today, we'll examine monogamy. Across time, across culture, and deep in our DNA, the story is far more complicated. Is monogamy a timeless truth, or is it a beautiful illusion that we have all agreed to believe? Watch the video till the end. If you are seeking clarity in the core concepts, fundamental principles, and basic beliefs of all religions, history, and philosophy, you have come to the right place. Welcome to my channel, History, Religion, and Philosophy Bite Size. Please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Before we delve into the main topic, here are some definitions that people often find confusing. Monogamy is a relationship with one partner at a time. Polygamy is being married to multiple spouses simultaneously. Polygyny is a type of polygamy where one man is married to multiple women. Polyandry is a type of polygamy where one woman is married to multiple men at the same time. Polyandry is engaging in multiple consensual sexual relationships at once. The purpose of the bite-sized videos is to break down complex concepts into simple and easy to understand narrations. It requires a lot of effort and research. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share so we can spread the message as much as possible. Monogamy may be the story we are told, but human behavior keeps rewriting the script. A 2020 YouGov poll found that 1 in 3 Americans say their ideal relationship isn't monogamous. By age 30, the average American has had 7 to 11 sexual partners, and studies show that 40 to 60% of married people will cheat at some point. And this isn't just a Western phenomenon. In countries like Pakistan and Egypt, where sex is taboo and porn is banned, Google searches for explicit content consistently rank among the world's highest. Iran's own research found that nearly a third of married men admitted to cheating. Malaysia, 1 in 3 confessed to infidelity despite strict moral codes. When Ashley Madison, a site for affairs, was hacked in 2015, tens of thousands of users from across the world were exposed, including users from the Muslim world. Over 1 million estimated visits just from Saudi Arabia. Behind the hypocrisy lies a truth about human nature. We crave novelty, not permanence. The global porn industry, once valued at 10 to 13 billion just in the United States alone, thrives on this urge. Christopher Ryan and Jetha argue in Sex at Dawn that pornography is a window onto our evolutionary psychology. And what we see in that window is clear. Humans crave sexual novelty, diversity, and exploration, not lifelong exclusivity. They suggest that the themes, patterns, and scale of pornography use serve as indirect but powerful evidence that monogamy is not biologically natural for our species. And the numbers reflect the fallout. Globally, divorce rates have more than doubled since the 1970s. In the US, nearly 45% of marriages are expected to end in divorce. In part of Europe, like Belgium and Portugal, the annual divorce to marriage ratios have reached or exceeded 60% in recent years. Even in traditionally conservative societies, the cracks are widening. Saudi Arabia has seen a dramatic rise in divorce filings, especially among newlyweds, while Egypt divorce rates continue to climb year after year. These aren't just numbers, they are signs of a deeper mismatch between our evolutionary instincts and the alleged modern myth of lifelong monogamy. So if monogamy is a myth, What are the biological, philosophical, and social bases of monogamy? Let's examine these. Let's begin with the science. Looking to our closest relatives offer further insight. We share almost 98% of our DNA with chimpanzees and bonobos, our nearest primate cousins. Both these species are highly promiscuous. In these species, males compete for access to females and females often mate with multiple males. This promiscuous system helps ensure genetic diversity and reduces the risk of infanticide by confusing paternity. So why did humans deviate from this pattern, or did we? One biological explanation is provided by Robert Trivers in 1972. According to this theory, because human infants are born highly dependent, long-term cooperation between parents would increase offspring survival. In this view, monogamy may have evolved as a practical strategy to protect and raise vulnerable children. But this doesn't mean monogamy is our default biological setting. It may simply be a strategic adaptation. Another piece of biological evidence comes from testes size theory, which compare relative testicle size across species. In primates, species where females are highly promiscuous, like chimpanzees, males have significantly larger testes relative to body size. This is because they need to produce more sperm to compete with the sperm of other males. Gorillas, on the other hand, very large animals, live in polygynous societies. One dominant male mates with multiple females and aggressively keep rival males away. Since there is little sperm competition because the dominant male has exclusive mating rights, large testes aren't needed. Thus, gorillas have very small testes relative to their body size. Human testes are moderately sized, larger than those of the monogamous primates like gibbons, but smaller than those of highly promiscuous ones, suggesting that humans evolved under a mixed mating system. This implies neither a purely monogamous nor a purely promiscuous sexual pattern, but a flexible one. Finally, a key study by Opie et al. Published in Science showing that monogamy in primates often evolved not from romantic bonding but as a defense against infanticide. Where males had greater certainty of paternity, they are more likely to protect infants from rival males. This social adaptation could then pave the way for longer-term pair bonds, not because of inherent monogamous instinct, but due to pressures around offspring survival. Taking together this evidence, it suggests that human mating strategies are shaped by complex evolutionary trade-offs, balancing child-rearing needs with our own promiscuous primate heritage. Now let's look at some of the historical background of monogamy. For over 90% of human history, people lived in hunter-gatherer societies, small, mobile, egalitarian groups with little emphasis on ownership. Anthropologists studying modern foragers like the Hadza of Tanzania or the Kungsan of Kalahari have found that sexual relationships were often fluid and pair bonding was not strictly enforced. Child-rearing was communal, paternity was sometimes ambiguous, and female sexual autonomy was relatively high. There were no formal marriage contracts, and social norms often allowed for non-exclusive sexual relationships. Here I have made a chart and a map for you of societies and areas which still practice polygyny and polyandry. These societies represent living traditions, but in many cases practices such as polyandry are being replaced or suppressed by modern state systems, religious influence, and changing values. The shift to agriculture around 10,000 years ago marked a turning point. With the rise of property ownership, inheritance, and social hierarchies became the regulation of reproduction and marriage. Female sexuality, once autonomous, became increasingly controlled. Marriage evolved into a tool for managing land, lineage, and legacy. Ancient Mesopotamia and Egypt legalized polygyny. Elite men had multiple wives and concubines, as recorded in the Code of Hammurabi and early legal codes. In the Hebrew Bible, figures like Abraham, Jacob, David, and Solomon had many wives. Solomon alone is said to have 700 wives and 300 concubines. Islamic law, beginning in the 7th century, explicitly allows up to 4 wives with the condition of equitable treatment, a rule widely observed in the Islamic empires. By contrast, Western Europe, under the influence of the Catholic Church, began enforcing monogamy as divine and legal doctrine between the 9th and 12th centuries. But even here, the motivation was partly political. Monogamy helped centralize power in the hands of the church and the state, not because it was morally superior, but because it was politically expedient. By the 19th century, monogamy became the legal standard in most Western societies, yet this shift represents institutional regulation, not biological destiny. Philosophers have long debated the nature and purpose of relationships and whether monogamy is a moral idea or a mechanism of social control. Aristotle saw the nuclear family as the foundation of the state. Immanuel Kant believed monogamous marriage was a morally proper form of sexuality rooted in mutual respect and equality. Friedrich Engels lays out a historical, materialistic view of family. He argues that monogamy is not natural, but rather an institution created to uphold private property, male dominance, and inheritance through patrilineal lines. Michael Foucault, a 20th century philosopher, saw sexuality as shaped by discourse and power. He argued that institutions, which are religion, law, and capitalism, have historically dictated norms like monogamy in order to maintain order and control. In his view, monogamy isn't natural, it's enforced. Feminist thinkers like Simone de Beauvoir further critiqued monogamy as a patriarchal system that restricted women's autonomy, reducing them to dependence within male-dominated household. Viewed across time and disciplines, monogamy doesn't seem to be biologically hardwired, but a cultural invention shaped by environmental pressures, social hierarchies, and moral philosophies. While monogamy may offer emotional security and social stability for many, it doesn't seem to be the default mode of human behavior. Instead of assuming it's natural, perhaps we should recognize it for what it is, a choice, one of many ways humans have adapted to live long and organized society. So what do you think? Is monogamy outdated or a timeless ideal? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and share.